here at City Hall Chambers, 405 Municipal Drive, Kennedale, Texas. This is being recorded in front of a live studio audience. So our first thing up for discussion is our work session, and we'll be talking about the budget for 2026 to 2027.
Good evening. What I'd like to start with is just to go through that staff report and really just keep this department by department in the general fund, starting off with some items that affect the city as a whole, and then breaking it down to administration and so forth. So this is really expanding on our previous capital project presentation. As you can see with administration, I'll hit on the cost of living adjustment for the staff, implementing a 3% cost of living. The funding source being the general fund, we're looking at that costing around $274,000. That was based on a payroll 2 payrolls ago, so it's going to be similar. I don't see that number moving very much, but that's 3% across the board. So public safety that's on a step plan, it's 3% on 10/1, and then they'll get the 2% on their service anniversary. So the step plan will just see an adjustment in each block. The next item was human resources software, $11,000. It's with NeoGov. That will coexist with Tyler, so we'll be able to push information over to Tyler to our financials. Next up with mayor and council, first change, the strategic plan that has been cut from $30,000 to $15,000. Still hoping to find a deal on that one. If y'all have questions, just stop me, please. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking nonstop. So feel free to pause me whenever you have an opportunity. One thing that did remain, chamber remodel, refreshing the dais, carpet, paint, finishes in the chamber and courtroom and jury areas within this building. As we can tell by the carpet and many things, they're original to the facility. The next two departments, court and finance, no new programs, positions, or capital expenditures. Police department, looking at this, some of these are created by combining accounts or modifying where certain expenditures land. The one new item on here is a new fully upfitted 2026 Ford Interceptor patrol unit. The funding source on that, I just want to point out, is not the general fund, it's the capital replacement fund. That fund has previously been used to cover our enterprise lease throughout all the departments. In this current fiscal year, we have bought out every enterprise leased vehicle. We either possess that, either auctioned it, or otherwise still hold it. That is the one new item in the police department. We do see some carpet replacement in some other office spaces. Software, as I mentioned on this one, there's some changes on how we'll account. There's only $5,500 in new spending. Moving on to the fire department. We've talked a lot about the Quint, our funding source being the bond issuance is coming up in a couple months. The other item is portable radios. We've recently learned that Mansfield will be encrypting their communications, so we must also have radios that are able to be encrypted. That does require us to purchase new radios for the police and the fire department. Here we're out of our general fund, are budgeting $24,600 for portable radios that will meet that new qualification. Community development, we do have this impact fee update, $50,000 for that. This is something that I understand is a legal requirement. We have to have this done every 5 years, and we are ripe to have that completed.
John? Is it on?
Mine's on.
You go back to the police radio or the fire department radios. We'll have another adjustment there. If you would also talk about the grant that we're looking at for the police department, so that way we have a overall picture of what we're looking at when we're talking about our portable radio.
Yes. With the police department, we applied through a grant through the COG, the organization, North Central Texas Organization of Governments. We are 12th on a funding scale. We were ranked, applicants were ranked 1 through 30. We came in at 12th, pretty high probability being funded. We asked for over $200,000. We were knocked down on our application at $200,000. That will get us 21 portable radios for the police department. With the fire department, we are budgeting this in the general fund, but in the meantime, we're always looking at foundations and other grant funding sources to cover. Did apply on the Assistance to Firefighters grant through FEMA. If we are awarded that, we will apply some of that funding to radios. So while this is budget in the general fund, we're always looking for other ways to cover this type of equipment.
Since we're taking a break real fast, Mr. Hall, on the strategic plan, there's that reduction of 15,000, but I think we were also talking about maybe doing a parks plan update as well. Can we maybe incorporate that somehow into this year? If not, definitely by next year.
Yeah, even with the 15,000, I think we'll be able to go through that. Majority of that's going to actually come out of the EDC. We're currently in the, Pavlik and Associates are in the process of the EDC strategic plan. As we continue to move through there, we'll get to the part where the council will be involved with the EDC and have a joint workshop session to understand where the city's going as a whole. And with that, this 15,000 actually will be, last year we started where we had a strategic plan just for the council to come up with any updates, any suggestions as we move through the comprehension plan. So the 15,000 includes a lot of things, but part of the strategic plan is roughly 10,000, and that's to get from any adjustments we want to do from the comprehensive plan and put it in action as we move forward. But we do have a little bit of room, be about $2,500 that we have a little bit of room if we can ask them to come in and do a park update.
I know for me, that's probably maybe a little bit more of a priority to me, the parks one, because it's more outdated than a comprehensive plan, even our fees assessment, which I thought we did just 3 years ago. Did we not do the fees?
No, we had not. We haven't done an impact fee study, which that John will get to here shortly, but we do have that in the current budget.
Okay.
But yeah, we can do an update to the parks.
If I may, real quick on the strategic plan, I have a couple questions on that. So it's being implemented through the EDC primarily. What is the scope that's been established for the strategic plan? Because to Councilman Navarro's point, there are a lot of areas that need to be covered, not just parks, but also some of the other things we've talked about in the past. We have a lot of published items that are dated 15 plus years that would be, when you think of a strategic plan, that's kind of an overarching plan, and then you can drill into different scopes. So my question is, what's covered in that? What's the scope?
Well, whenever you look into the strategic plan, majority of them have been updated. So it started in 2023 with the comprehension plan. So if you can look at the plans are already in place. Some of them have not been, including one of them is the parks. Although it was updated, we can still go back and do an annual report of all the plans that we have in place. The master thoroughfare plan, zoning, all that was done with Dunaway. They're the ones that came in. We had a panel put together, a committee put together throughout the city, and they came in and done updates to those. One of the things that we have attempted to do last year, and we went through doing an update to our strategic plan. It didn't necessarily go in the direction we believed it should have been. But I believe that as we move forward.
Is this the Imagine Kennedale?
No, this is that. Again, it started last year with the strategic plan to get everything updated, mainly from the council of getting where do we want to go? What is the vision? Let's get the vision documented, and that way we can move forward with it. As we went through the process and as we got the final report, wasn't necessarily what we intended it to be. And this year, we have a new consultant to be able to help us and maybe forecast what our vision is as we move forward.
So I guess that's one of the reasons I'm asking that question. If that's the scope or direction, then I'm just kind of interested as to why the EDC is the appropriate mechanism for spearheading that initiative.
It's not that they're spearheading it. One thing that was not done, a strategic plan was not done for the EDC itself. It gives the EDC direction, a lot of involvement, doing a not only just the plan for the EDC, is to come out and do a market analysis with it as well, to come in, have a just set a vision. The EDC that I'm aware of has never had a strategic plan put together that actually identifies what's our purpose, why are we here, and how we're going to accomplish what the vision is. That's the reason why it's starting with the EDC. Again, in 2023, the process started trying to put a strategic plan together, and it started with the comprehension plan, which also included the master thoroughfare zoning, uh, the parks. All of that was discussed during that comprehension plan. Dunaway is the one that spearheaded that. We had I believe it was a 12-person committee from our community come in to exercise their thoughts and their vision of the city. Again, the strategic plan for the EDC was one part that was not discussed or had any vision to move forward with that. That's the reason why Pavlik and Associates was identified to come in to help place that vision in place, with the idea that we share that with the city council to understand what their vision is for the EDC. With that, should have in the next couple of months have a workshop for the two to come in to dictate that. Now, if you want to go in further and redo the comprehension plan, I think that's something we need to probably reevaluate to see exactly what detail are you're asking. Or you want to?
I think I was just asking for a clarification on scope. It sounds to me like, and I'm just, without holding up, continuing through this whole thing, will say,
No.
put a pin in this one point, but if to me, the EDC, like parks, like other components or pieces of our overall strategic plan, those are components of an entire plan that all come together that should have overlays and be congruent, right? Totally understand if the EDC hasn't had a chance to have that yet. Makes sense that we do one for the EDC that feeds into a bigger overarching vision and plan that should be driven by the mayor and council, which is why I asked the question about scope. It sounds to me like the primary focus right now is producing one or something that's incorporating the EDC because it's been left out in the past.
Correct.
Okay, which is why it's being done with the EDC.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question answered. Thank you.
And one just final point on this, like, I believe the last time we did a parks plan, it was UTA that did it, correct? Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, to that
Yeah.
extent.
And that's a resource we haven't used in a decade. I know maybe the mayor can reach out to that department and see if they're willing to do that. And for me, I would like, the young to kind of take that approach to parks and what they would like to see in the future, basically.
Yeah, if you're wanting something more than what we've done in 2023, yeah, please express that to me and what you're into. If you want to go the UTA route, absolutely, we can do that. There's not an issue. If we're wanting to do an update, I think the update is something that Pavlik can help us with as an update.
That sounds
Now,
good.
if you're wanting to go back and redo a total strategic plan, I think that's a little bit more in depth than what I've been anticipating, particularly for the budget. The $10,000 to $12,000 is exactly that. It's nothing more than an update. What we're doing for the EDC is totally different than what we're looking at for this.
Yeah, my concern with the parks one is that it is 95% out of date. We completed 95% of it. The only thing left over is connecting the parks together with the trail. But everything that's listed in there has been done or is in the process. And then we have several properties we recently purchased as well, with some hopes and dreams with those that needs to be put on paper. So to me, that's the one that's kind of been hanging out there and we could do it and it'd be fine for 10 more years.
No, and that's the intention to, even with Pavlik and Associates, we should be able to get that accomplished. The past year has been very active in creating the opportunities for our parks and trails, and it needs to be updated, and that's what this update will help us do.
Okay, so let me take the pen back out that Dave, what's his name? Griff just mentioned. When we're talking about an EDC strategic plan, shouldn't the EDC strategic plan be playing off the strategic plan and the comprehensive plan that the city did 3 years ago? They shouldn't be starting from scratch. Their strategic plan should be matching up with that even before they come to see us, right?
That's correct.
So they're going to
Yeah.
be looking at what we want and trying to fit what they're going to do with what we want.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And again, we'll have a workshop where the council's involved in that discussion.
Question, Mr. Mayor, do we want, or can we discuss the ladder truck and the bond, or do you want to save that for, okay. Um, so my thought on the ladder truck, and I expressed this before, is I still think 15 years for the bond is probably appropriate just because that's the useful life of the truck. And then I had another thought, if it takes 2 years to get a replacement truck, should we actually plan the bond to be 13 years long so that way we then have 2 years of we're paying off this truck while we get it paid off, and then we've ordered the next truck and we just have one truck payment, so to speak, moving forward?
I don't think that the 2 years would match the administrative burden. I just don't think the benefit would outweigh the additional burden to manage that, because all this is managed internally. It's not that Samco is going to build this into the bond. This is something that we're managing internally. So the 2 years, I don't know that the effort would be worth the financial gain.
I guess my thought is in 13, 15 years, whoever's sitting up here then, I just don't want them to be in a situation where they have to figure out how they're going to pay for 2 fire trucks when one's getting sunsetted and kind of put out, becoming the secondary vehicle. That's what I thought about it. I'll leave it up to the rest of the council to discuss if you feel like it's worth it to bring it in so that the future council doesn't have to make that decision. And they say, yes, the old one, the current ladder truck is paid off fully. We can issue new debt and not change tax rates or have to cut services from somewhere else to make it the difference.
So generally speaking, accelerating the schedule, if we're leaving the tax rate exactly the same, but we do something that increases the debt service rate, that decreases the M&O rate. So if we bring it from 20 years to 15 years, even a portion, there's a part of that span where we would have less for M&O that we would otherwise if we keep the rate flat. There is the theory over time, which is true over a 15-year period, you would see some savings, but there are some years in there that would see a reduction in what's available for M&O.
How much of a reduction would you guess, or is that not a really fair question for you?
There are a lot of what ifs involved with that. One thing that we do know for certain, there would be no change between the 15-year and 20-year schedule. There is no change until we hit FY31. For fiscal year 31, we will be required to use $8,000 of unencumbered fund balance to have our schedule match what we would make us available to do the 15-year plan without modifying the tax rate, again, with some what ifs. From that point is when we start seeing some differences. And then, of course, by FY47, it all equals the same. But overall, with some what ifs, there would be a handful of years that they would be pretty tight. An exact number, I don't think I could really give you an exact number, but the total savings overall in interest is around a little bit over 210,000. That is less than 0.5% of the total debt service. We would need that additional 8,000 of fund balance, so that would bring our requirement from 406,000 to 414,000 of fund balance to pay that down to keep our rate the same overall, which we are ready to do that now. The 406 is pretty comfortable.
Director Horton, the 210,000 you just mentioned, just to confirm, that's the interest savings if we were to go from a 20-year note to a 15-year?
On that fire engine part of it. So not the full, but just the half that would cover the quint, not the engine. Sorry, I misspoke.
But not an insignificant savings as well.
I mean, the other aspect to think about this is we don't get punished for paying things off early. So if we were to go with the 20, we could, as funding is available, look at paying that down. Of course, this is an option for you guys to discuss, not me necessarily. Year over year, I would prefer to have as much available for operation as we possibly can, just as a general philosophy.
Is that what you're recommending, is go from 20-year to 15 to now 13?
Well, the 13 was just a thought, thinking about how these things take 2 years to get, and we have to borrow the money just to place the order. And so really, if we're going to replace this truck at the 15-year mark, we would have to have additional funding secured for the replacement truck by year 13, presumably, and then wait 2 years if current lead times hold, wait 2 years for the new truck to arrive at year 15, and then we retire it or move the ladder truck to secondary. I guess the paying on an asset past its useful life just doesn't sit well. Maybe it's government different. Maybe it's okay there, but I just feel like if it's going to be, if we know we're going to retire it or put it to secondary by year 15, it should just be off the books. That's my feeling on it. I just
Okay.
don't want to burden a future council will have to make a hard decision because we
To be
didn't.
fair, the vehicles are still in use. Like it'll still be in use for 20 years. It might not be the primary out, but it'll still be in use. So we're not going to sell it or abandon it in 15 years. In other words.
It's more we're going to take on additional debt to then get the next one rolling.
Mhm.
So just trying to avoid doubling up on that debt burden as we get closer to year 15 or year 20.
We'll have some debt fall off and before that time that we'll likely be able to replace with new debt, and that would cover the cost.
Right. Yeah, those are just my thoughts on it. If there's an appetite with the council to discuss it more and talk about reducing the note from 20 to 15, we can. If not, we'll move on.
Now, we've previously discussed only reducing the fire engine part. We haven't discussed the whole. So are you
Right.
wanting? to
I'm
discuss-
referring just to the fire truck.
Okay, 'cause we've already, yeah, those are figures that we've already calculated. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to go back and try to get a new.
No, just that asset because it's got a useful life.
Mhm.
With that, just for clarification, is that two different bonds at that point? No, it's still one.
No, we would be administratively doing the 15 and 20 on our side. It would still be advertised as a single bond.
Which then changes our debt calculation.
Jeff, thoughts?
I mean, I get where you're coming from, David. We've done a couple things around here that was 20, 30 years that we regretted in the future. But I think in this case, I'm with John. We do have a good habit of when it's going good, we'll pay off some debt and get some debt early and kind of cancel out that 200,000 in this case, for example. And then of course, who knows what the future holds 15, 20 years from now. I might not even be on this planet. So, for me, I would have to kick the can down to those council 20 years from now and how they want to deal with it. But for now, I'm with John on this. I think his philosophy has done really well for the city the last couple of years. It's allowed us to pay off some debt and take on new debt for a lot of projects, capital projects. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I get where you're coming from. Absolutely 100%. I mean, I can say Fathom, Enterprise, Fort Worth Water. These are things that we regret around here that were long-term contracts, and we were lucky with a couple of those.
Ryan?
I would agree. The question I had during budget meeting 1 last month, the question was, would it have any effect on the bond rate itself? And it could actually have a negative effect on the bond rate based off of Samco's response. And so I would leave it at that and take it upon the city's effort to actually pay down that debt hopefully earlier rather than going out the full 20 years. But as we talked with Chief Peterson, the current truck that we have right now that is in reserve number 2 spot is, I believe, 18 years old in service daily.
Is that right? The reserve, how old is that?
2022. Yes, sir.
We're talking about the one in reserve.
What year was the reserve?
Number 2 unit.
2011,
The
our current reserve
The
engine.
reserve engine is 2011 and the one that's first out currently is 2022.
On the 2022, John, you may have to help me. Did we receive grant funding for that, correct?
Yes, sir.
So currently, do we have debt associated with the 2022?
No,
No debt.
we don't have any debt associated with fire department equipment.
Thank you.
The station's a different story. The equipment, we're solid.
And we just got started on that one.
Anything else, Ryan?
No, thank you.
Kenneth?
Well, the way I look at it is we're looking about 15, 20 years, say 15 years. We don't know, we might even have a second station in 15 years. So if we have a second station, we're going to be looking at, we're going to need another engine. So we'll have an engine and truck, and then we already have 3 ambulances. So it's kind of setting us for the future. I know they say the lifespan is 20 years, but Fort Worth just retired truck 14 after 40 years in inline service. So, I mean, I think we ought to purchase it and just move forward with it.
Griff?
Yes, without reiterating all the things, I share the sentiments of Councilman Ray and Navarro's, and we talked about this at great length. And whether you look at our performance over the past, how we've serviced debt and been able to keep up, and the way that we're doing things, I think it's a good strategy, and I think that it's been successful for us. Also, you know, I like the idea of being green, yellow, and red. I'll say that again. And I think operationally, the impact is important. Clearly, we have our reserve truck that's, you know, getting into that area where I would say it would be safe to call it near red. So I think making the purchase and doing it this way is the best strategy moving forward.
All right, continue.
Right, with community development, since the impact fee was mentioned again,
I'm sorry, John. One,
so close.
well, one thing in the current in the budget is 24,600 for the portable radios. That number will increase, so that's something you will see in August the 4th. So just future reference for that. The PD, with the idea that we get the grant money, will take care of the police department's portable radios. All portable radios have to be replaced by January. So obviously, we're putting a lot of money that we've done a great job, and I feel we've done an outstanding job for this grant. With that, we still need to purchase 7 portable radios for the fire station, and that's roughly going to be 54,000. So the 24,000 you see, you will see a difference on the 4th. And I just want to point that out.
One more thing that just jumped out at me. I'm sorry, John. We skipped over this, but why did we take out the assistant city manager?
Assistant city manager role is over 200,000 employment cost. That's the main reason for me.
Yeah.
Manager will have a different opinion.
That was my choice to take it out. As we move forward, and if you want me to elaborate on it now, I'll be more than happy to elaborate. I do think it's a position that we need to look at as we move forward, just for one, what we have coming. We have had an outstanding last 3 or 4 years. Some of the things that we've been working on is actually going to start to come to fruition. You're going to start seeing that. And as we continue to move, we've done an outstanding job of changing our what people perceive us to be. And we have a lot of developers, a lot of development that's eager to come to Kennedale. And as we do that, it does stretch me fairly thin, with the idea that if we can get an assistant city manager to come in, one, that person gets to grow next beside me. One, build the relationships, build the development that we need, and understand the vision. And by the time we're at that location, you never know, it might be retirement time. It might be time to step away. Who knows? And I think it's for us to have something in that mindset to be prepared for and have somebody in the road to be able to pick up the pieces and move forward.
Well, I know for me, I would like to maybe see if we can finagle this. I mean, if not this year, then definitely by next year, but maybe we can pull some numbers around, because ideally I do know what's coming and what's in the pipelines and what's being knocked on their doors. And I agree with you. I think we should have somebody, not that I'm trying to push you out, Daryl, or anything, but we've had it to where we dropped that leadership in the past and that hurt us. And I would like to see, at least if there anything does come up medically or politically or whatever, and we lose you, that there's a nice soft handoff with an interim. Because that's literally set us back years around here twice in the last decade.
It has. It's honestly, in my opinion, it's been the career of Kennedale. And we had to change that mindset. We had to put our priorities where it's going to make us better. With that, no matter, whatever it takes, the city is at the stage of growth. The time and effort that puts in to make that happen, it's time for that position to come available. And if I'm here or not, it's a need. We had to prepare for that. We're no longer a small city. We're a city within a metroplex that is growing. We have people that want to come here. They want to be a part of what we have created and that was here prior to us. This idea that we're a small town and we have this hometown feel. As you can tell, people want that. They want to be a part of that. And what a better way to do that besides invite them to come in and make us better. And without that step, we could use it.
So I'd rather see us invest in people than maybe a remodel. So if we need to Councilman Evers one, if we need to move things around, I think we could forego remodeling this room, put 90,000 back into the general fund, and then that gets us halfway there to getting a city manager role, which we could probably find in other parts of the budget.
Well,
So
and not to mention, you don't have to hire in October. We can hire in January or
Yep.
April, and that mitigates 200 for this season. I do expect next year numbers to be way higher than what they are. Not only sales tax wise, but just property values. Next year's the new evaluations. So they skipped the 3 years Tad did. So next year's the new year where we're all going to be pleasantly surprised on our valuations. So I do project good numbers in the future. So if we need to drag our feet a little bit, but I think that's something that we do need to incorporate. We've been doing really well the last 3 years hiring staff, and getting the city to where we needed to be 20 years ago.
right.
And so these are one of these functions, I think, along with many others, but I think this is one of them that needs to be done administratively.
Along with that conversation, because I agree that there are probably some other things that we can rearrange in here and redistribute. And one of the things if there's another strategy we can employ in terms of structuring staff and things like that to still achieve the same goal while reserving some of those savings for other things, I would like to touch on the cost of living, for example, because right now that 3% is only barely keeping up and is actually less than the impact of inflation and the cost of living. So if there's a way for us to go through this and kind of pick some other things out and figure out how to redistribute those, I would like to look at that, especially with the idea of having an assistant city manager. I think there's maybe a structuring strategy we can use to reduce that cost or impact.
Well, and again, as John moves forward, you'll see some of these things we can definitely entertain of making a change. And to Council Glover's point, we do have 90,000 that will make a significant change and be able to make that happen. As we move forward, August the 4th, you'll see a very strong budget being brought to you, which we can have a lot more discussion, but your feedback now really helps us as we come into August the 4th, what that's going to look like. And the two topics that we just talked about, we can make adjustments for all three of y'all's comments. We could make that happen.
Yeah, and I just want to chip in. I think Jeff is right. That was hard to say. And I agree with David. We could certainly put this off, remodeling this for a year to get us to that point, because you are stretched pretty thin doing all the EDC work with all they're doing and all the stuff that's going on in the city. I want to make sure you have all the help that we can supply.
Well, thank you for that. And we have an outstanding staff.
Yeah.
Completely agree. And quickly to step in at this time on both comments, both the assistant manager, that role was something that we discussed early on. It's something as we grow as a city will be needed. It's called succession planning. There needs to be that simple, there needs to be that soft landing. And so as we grow, we need to think about that. Can we push it off? Yes, we can until next year, but I would push hard for it next year if we're unable to achieve it this year. Moving into the cost of living raise, what Scrib brought up, I completely agree with that as well. We look at the numbers. We are proposing right now 3% after providing 0 raises last year. Is that correct? That's not correct. Please correct me.
Public safety did not have an adjustment on their step plan. They still did receive their 2% increase based on service anniversary, but they were on their step plan. Everyone else did receive an increase,
What was that increase?
average around 3%
It was 3%.
on average, yes.
Okay. I will stand by my statement though, off of that point, but thank you for the clarification. That the difference between the offer of 3% compared to 4% comes out to $97,000 annually based off of today's numbers that you proposed. And that is roughly the cost of what we proposed in the a potential remodeling of Dias and City Hall and parts. And so I would like to find some additional funding there.
Are you recommending the 4% or do you want us to go to the 5?
I'm recommending 4.
To chime in with Ryan here, I would recommend at least what covers if there's an increase in health insurance. As a husband to a wife who worked for the county for 16 years, we were always getting that raise to cover the health insurance. So it was a wash in the end. But we obviously want to cover what's the increase in cost of living out there, but we can't. Technically, we're covering the increase of the health insurance. So if that's going up, that's at least what we need to cover. That's kind of my stance on it. That way we don't break families.
Yeah, John we'll talk about that here shortly, but Brian.
Yeah, I just would add to that. So my ask would be, because I know there's going to be a lot of adjustments. We're going to have a lot of things we're going to put on you as we go through this. There's going to be a lot more. So what I would say is 4% as a bare minimum. But if there's a way to get it to 5 and still do some of these other things that we're trying to accomplish, then absolutely that's what we should shoot for. But
Yeah,
I think we're historically.
I'm sorry, 4% is an additional $97,000. 5%, and this is a difference from the 3%. To go to 5%, it's additional $173,000. That is an extremely steep hill to climb if we're going to do anything else that's in this capital project list.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, how it shakes out, 4% as a minimum, but just we're historically struggling to keep up. So.
And that's what tonight is about, truly, is some of the things that we're presenting is something that put your priorities. What is your priority? And that's what we bring to you August the 4th.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, going back to the impact fee update. Just giving y'all a moment.
All right.
All right, our impact fee study, it's beyond the 5-year review period required by Chapter 395 of the Texas Local Government Code. So we left this in here as a legal requirement. This is just something we have to get done. Senior Center has no new programs, positions, or capital expenditures.
Could I stop you, John? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. You're on the clock, though. We've got 20 minutes.
There was a mapping software, infrastructure mapping software system that we discussed, and we've removed that since then. Could I be reminded of what that cost was? It was not inexpensive, but the value behind it, I believe, going forward, would really create a lot of value that the city needs. Right now, our infrastructure mapping that we have is manual, old, outdated, and on paper. And so knowing what the age of our streets are, understanding what the age of the underground infrastructure is, that is a paper trail that sometimes does not exist. And so having that electronic mapping, I believe, provides a lot of value and allows us to really look forward and understand what the age of Street A is, understanding that in 10 years, the Street A is probably up for repavement or some type of rework or remodeling.
Well, our pavement management system still exists. We had an initial cost for a company to come in and scan our roads and rate them. That still exists. We still use that. And Arlington is handling all of our water mapping. We ask Arlington for maps from them for the water and sewer.
We do have GIS capabilities.
That's a key word. Thank you.
With that, the problem becomes is we don't own it. We don't own that GIS. Obviously, all the infrastructure is ours. For instance, Arlington Water, they go out and we have a GIS system, so they know where our water is. We don't. With that, and we're looking at, one of the things was GIS was for personnel to come in and put this in. Personally, I don't think we're there to that part. We need to buy what we already know we own. And that's working through Arlington. It's working a little bit through Fort Worth with our consultants on engineering. For instance, a lot of our engineering companies that's come in and done some of our work, they have it on GIS. We need to pay for it. Then once we get that access to it, then we can go and have that capability. We can do the work ourselves. Currently, right now, like Arlington, they go out and they go and do everything for it, right? And they put in that GIS. We just need to purchase our own information. And it's the same thing with some of the engineering companies that we currently contract with. We need to buy our information back, put it into our own GIS, then have the personnel to come in and then start managing what we already own. I don't think we're just there yet, because it will take a personnel to be able to do that. But I think at whatever point we purchase our own information, then we'll be set, ready to move.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Moving on to the library, we have one position that's converted to a supervising librarian. It's coming out of the general fund, $10,000 on that end. Going down, a percussion play park. This funding source is the park dedication fund, so zero out of the general fund. This would create a percussion play park and a fence. There's some pretty cool pictures of this in the staff report. Communications, no new programs, positions, capital expenditures. Down to public works, you'll notice a handful of these projects actually have multiple funding sources. Our budget being what it is, we tend to have to piece things together to make these work. The box culvert bridges on Eden Road and South New Hope be a clean out and a rebuild for part of this. Street repair, here's a reduction. We have two funding sources for street repair. The general fund, we reduced that from $400,000 to $300,000. We left the portion for the upcoming bond remain the same. Next one is the water utilities funding sources, completely the 2026 bond. No adjustment there. Our equipment, we took everything out but the snow plow. Reduction from $85,000 to $8,000. We took out the $50,000 for streetlights. And regarding our new sports complex, we do have a budget for a contracted field maintenance services at $52,000, so about $1,000 a week. Of note, since personnel has been a topic this evening, that cost is less than the total employment cost of a single employee.
I do have a comment, John, on that. Looking at that, we're looking at that's a contract fee of $52,000 in order to support our two new fields, correct, that are under construction?
There's going to be more than two, but that's schematic.
Are there more than two?
There's two that would be like baseball, softball, and then there's a center that's like a hybrid space. It could be one large soccer field or 4 smaller soccer fields.
My point of interest there is, could we spend $52,000 on a part-time contract, or could we add one full-time employee?
The full-time employee would exceed that cost, and
It
the
would
equipment
by
cost
roughly
would,
$66,000.
yeah, a full-time employee's that ballpark, that's close. But that's also not with any specialized equipment or fertilizer or anything else that we would need.
My only thought is could we add more value to the city overall? And does it make more sense to spend $10,000 more to have a full-time employee who's on our team completely? Are these ball fields, 2 ball fields or 3 ball fields, whatever it may be, is a small project in my mind.
I won't get into my past, but I'll say that that type of grass, if it's done correctly, does require specialized equipment to mow it. It requires specialized chemicals to keep the grass growing, especially if it's multi-seasonal. You have to plant different types of grass throughout the year to keep it playable. So in the extent, I don't believe we have the equipment right now to do that type of mowing, for example. So that would be an additional cost on top of this potential new employee.
We also don't have the
Also,
expertise.
just adding one full-time, that's going to take all of his time, and even that's probably not enough of a resource to handle that field. My background, my family's been in landscaping for the last 40 years, and I can tell you that the cost to bear that cost for ourselves to have all that extra equipment, all the resources, the manpower it's going to take is going to far exceed contracting it out.
And I'm very firm about making sure that we take care of this baseball fields this time around. And if you don't, understand what I'm saying, just go down there right now before we tear it up and you'll understand. And that a lot of that is because, smaller staff, so they got spread around the city and that just doesn't get the attention. Weeds come in. We've had baseball teams take care of them over the years as well. For me, if we're going to spend the money and put all this new grass in, we either need to hire somebody that's an expert in grass, which like people would take care of golf courses, or we hire somebody that has the expertise. So we make sure it'll last 30 years.
Okay, so looks like we're about 10 minutes. I'll just hit on the budget packet. I'll use the page numbers are on the bottom right of the page since I won't be going from your exact packet. But we have a cover page, then we go down to the general fund. We'll hit on the revenue. Councilman Navarez touched on this earlier regarding the property taxes. An analysis was done by the appraisal district, and during this 3-year, I'll call it a lockout period where we haven't been able to see an increase in homestead or residential property. If that freeze hadn't been put into place, we would have a 15% higher valuation than we have on the residential homestead properties right now. So as of today, if you want to look at it from my perspective, it's like we're 15% behind as a county. From the homeowner's perspective, you're 15% ahead. So it just depends on what side of the line you're in. But when you look at our valuations, our values are actually a little bit less this year than last, the way it plays out. So our budget, our property taxes, it's essentially flat. Sales tax, I feel pretty good about the 4% increase just based on our year-to-date analysis and then doing a weighted average from the previous 5 years. We're still on pace there. All the other revenue, it tracks with what we're expecting. Fines and fees, we're seeing a pretty significant increase on that. I will touch on, since we had a question, the investment revenue, it does fall into the all other revenue. We're looking at that to be nearly flat going budget to budget. We've definitely seen some things that are outside of the city of Kennedale's control or authority that are impacting what the markets are doing. So our returns right now are less than they were last year. And that's something that we're budgeting for. And as you look at other funds where the investment income account is pulled out, you'll see that it's flat. Maybe it's a little bit higher, maybe it's a little lower. We're playing a bit of a strategy play with when balances are expected to increase or decrease in those funds to get the investment amounts. But we're definitely not counting on that increase for 27 like we did for 26. See property taxes at 42% of our revenue. This is on page 5. So whereas that was at 50% or greater in the past, every year we're thinning that down quite a bit. A big reason for that is an increase in our sales tax revenue. There's one particular 380 agreement that has definitely worked out well for us. One mistake I will point out on page 6, we are still showing the assistant city manager in the positions. That has been removed. And the salary and the benefits in that personnel section below, those numbers do reflect the ACM being removed. I do need to make a change on the chart above it.
John, can I ask you, just real quick for
Absolutely.
on page 5, the sales tax at 27%.
Mm-hmm.
2 questions I have. Do you know off the top of your head by chance what that was in the last 2 years?
No.
And then also, can you speak to the increase? Is it primarily new business or?
Well, I haven't done an analysis like year to date, but the previous 2 completed fiscal years, Amazon has 2 separate entities that have been in the top 5. One year they were 2 in the top 3, the other they were both in the top 5. So that leads to me believing that these purchases from the home are a significant driver of our sales tax revenue. And I can't remember all the businesses off the top of my head, but in the top 10, there were several that do home deliveries. And since that Wayfair versus South Dakota ruling puts the sales tax on the destination point, that has been a huge benefit for us. Offhand, and I couldn't provide the numbers in open session anyway, but O'Reilly Auto Parts, I mean, we actually could see a difference when they came in. The 380 agreement, like you can see month over month when that started. I'm hoping for a similar result from AutoZone once they're up and running, that we'll be able to, if you're looking at month over month, be able to see when they actually open just from people going into the store. Same with the Wayfair ruling. The auto shops that have parts delivered to them, we get to collect the sales tax on that. So that ruling has really helped us out a lot. And that's probably, if there's one main driving factor on why our sales tax has increased, it's been that ruling itself. Did that answer what you were looking for? Okay. Since Daryl led into it, I don't want to skip this. In our budget, we have budgeted for a 10% increase in the cost of benefits across the board. So medical, dental, vision, everything at 10%. There are some that looks a little ambitious, and there are some that we might actually fall underneath that. We're in negotiations with that currently, and Brinson Benefits will provide data on that next month.
Quickly, John, just on input, going through our annual insurance renewals, personally as a company, we took 8% with over 200 employees.
We are not looking at that. So our total benefit, our current package, medical for the whole year, it's $455,000. It's a little bit above that. So we budgeted a 10% increase. Right now we're looking at over 10%, but those are in negotiation. If we get down to 10% and we're able to keep a similar plan, we'll feel pretty comfortable with that. We have noticed, and Danielle could speak more intelligently than me on this, but we have noticed that plans and networks have changed. And in order to find some of those single digit increases, there's some adjustments that have to be made, and we have to be willing to accept some of those. It'll be different plans and maybe a tighter network and so forth. But 10% right now is what we're looking at. That could change within a week.
No, completely understood. And my point was that at this time, 10%, I would not budget below that. And so there are many changes going on with the health insurance, that industry, as we all know, but 10 to 15% is what we should expect, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. least on the on the dental and vision, we're seeing some good feedback on that. So we might be able to end up in a better spot there. It looks like we're getting thin on time. As far as operating, I mean, I don't want to just stand up here and talk as something that stands out to me. If there's something that stands out to any of you on a department, or if you want to go into another fund briefly, we can do that.
But just for the public, so we're having another budget meeting on August 4th, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, we're planning to take feedback. We've got some feedback today that I didn't necessarily expect that we'll take a look at, and hopefully we'll be able to make a quick change and get that out before our publishing deadline for the meeting.
And if we have any other questions, we can email them to you as well.
I'm here quite a bit.
Yeah. Anything else for John before we move on?
I just got a question in general. Is there any way that we can re-see the numbers with the assistant city manager and a 5% by August 4th? So we can compare?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want things removed, or do you just want that on top of what's on here now?
Well, we pulled the assistant city manager out. Let's put the assistant city manager back in so I can see, I want to see the numbers, what we are currently now, what we'll be with that position,
Well, if you,
and what we will be at a 5% or 4% increase.
well, if you want to do some quick math, on page 4, you see a net change in fund balance. And if you just want to make it really, really simple, you would subtract $207,000 from 535. So that would put our deficit $207,000 greater without removing anything else.
It'd be
Then at
almost
5%, to go from 3% to 5, you'd have to add another,
four, so it'd be about.
or
another
then you'd add
300,000.
97,000 on top of that. So you'd have to add about 280,000 to the 535 if we don't reduce anything. And I will say that's a little bit more than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Now we try to, and we've discussed with our bond rating agency that we do look at 2-year periods and then make sure that we're balanced in a 2-year period. The idea being, in like for the current fiscal year, projecting to have $725,000 positive in the black. Apply that to growing our reserve and also at capital projects. So like road repair and those type of things that aren't permanently committed costs like a new employee might be. So that's our general 2-year strategy. It's been working for the last 3 that I've been here.
But it could be almost like Jeff had suggested, like if, and David has suggested, you put off the council chamber improvements, you move to hiring the assistant city manager till January, then you're not talking about a $200,000 cost.
Yeah, if we did March, you could just cut it in half.
Yeah.
Essentially, like if we were going to do an April hire, that 207 or the 200 would go down to a little bit over 1.
Is there any other priorities?
Super good.
If I could, I'd do it for myself.
Is there, for 3 minutes, any discussion about the bond, our infrastructure, road projects, anything? We did make a change from the 400 to 300,000 on our general maintenance. It's not necessarily dealing with our infrastructure. We've gradually every year have increased our maintenance. You know, it's not necessarily a discussion for today, but as we go into the 4th and we move forward with the budget, or I'm sorry, the bond, we're talking about a $5 million bond, which we're already indicating 2.2 is for the fire station, roughly 1 million, a little over 1 million would be for the Little School Road project, which has given us revenue to be able to come in with infrastructure itself. As you come in, I've shared the streets that are rated and are poor, very poor, moderate, things of that nature. If you want to start looking at those, and obviously we made some suggestions as we move forward. We will have it the same thing for August the 4th. We'll have a list of streets that you can look at to maybe prioritize. We'll have our input of the reason why some of the streets that we chose, the reason why they're chosen, and how we move forward with it. But as we go forward, be open and send me some emails, make phone calls so we know what we're looking at. August the 4th, we really need to have it narrowed down to what those numbers are going to look like. We're looking for August the 18th for approval, not only for the bond, but for the budget for 26, 27 budget.
When is the deadline for the budget approval?
29th.
29th?
Yeah, so we have to have it online the 30th, 31st, and the 3rd. So I would need everything really by noon on Wednesday.
Yeah, Darryl, one thing I'd want to see, and we've talked about it, is that I want to see a more detailed road plan. I want to make sure that we're doing roads that are primarily in the poorest condition, not necessarily the most traveled, because we have some pretty bad roads that are in places that people still have to get to, but the poorest, and see what we're going to do this year, and then what are the roads on the schedule for next year, and then 3 years out, so that, we're going to trust you guys to tell us these are the roads that are the most important to do. But I want to see at least a 3-year plan of which roads we're doing what year.
And we have a 5-year plan for you.
No, I just want to see the roads specifically, not just
We
the
do.
general plan, but I want to see what
We
roads
do.
are we doing next year?
Public Works
we
has
have-
that prepared already.
That's what I need to see.
Yeah, you'll sit in the August 4th.
I would like to add to that those things are correlated with the needs that are subsurface, the subsurface infrastructure that. Okay.
All right, we good? All right, we're going to end the work session and we're going to call our regular meeting to order. Note that all members of the council are here as for the roll call. We are all here and present. I'm going to ask Lori Sanders if she would come up and give our invocation. I hate to do that right off the bat, but we're going to do it. And then our Mayor Pro Tem will lead us in our pledges. Make sure you turn the green light on, Lori.
Okay. Will you bow with me? Holy God, we just thank you for bringing us all together here today. We thank you for our city council, our mayor, our city manager, our first responders, Lord. We just ask that you would watch over all these people who lead and guide our city. And we would ask that you would give them your wisdom and that you would let them know what the community needs and let the community know to let our leaders know what they need, Lord. And we just ask that you would bless our city and bless it real good. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, first up is public comment. We welcome comments from the public. Did we have some people sign up?
Yes, sir. We've had one person sign up.
I'll just have the,
If James and Amanda Chance would please come to the podium.
hold that thought for just a
I'm
second.
sorry, excuse me.
Can I have the paper? Yeah, thanks. As we know, in public comment, just a reminder, the council cannot respond to anything here because it's not on the agenda, and that would violate the Open Meetings Act. But we do have a city manager sitting right here, and so if you have some comment, we'll make sure we get it written down, and we will get it in touch with you. And if it becomes an issue, we'll make sure we get it on the agenda. So that means James and Amanda Chance, come on up.
Well, I guess I don't need to introduce myself.
Yeah, you actually do, and you have to say your address.
Okay, good. I had that written down. Mayor and council members, good evening. I'm Amanda Chance. This is my husband, James. We live at 628 Briar Court. We are one of the homeowners most directly impacted by the upcoming sewer improvement project. First, I want to say that we support the city's efforts to improve the sewer infrastructure. We understand this project is necessary, and we want to work cooperatively with the city, the engineers, and the contractor to help it move forward successfully. However, over the past several months, we have repeatedly experienced a lack of communication. We have learned about meetings affecting our property through third parties, have had representatives on our property without prior notice, and have often had to initiate contact ourselves in order to obtain information. Recently, we received a temporary access for construction activities letter requesting access to our property and permission to store equipment and materials on our property for up to 90 days. Unfortunately, the document is very general and does not provide enough information for us to make an informed decision. Before we consider signing the temporary access activities agreement, we respectfully request that the city provide additional details and meet with us on site. Specifically, we are requesting a property-specific construction plan identifying where excavation will occur, an exact location and dimensions of any temporary work or storage areas on the property, a description of the equipment and materials proposed to be stored on our property, including the approximate size and weight of the equipment, how long it will remain on site, and the measures that will be taken to prevent soil compaction, fuel or oil leaks, and damage to our property. A project schedule showing when work is anticipated to begin on our property. The anticipation of the duration of the work. Confirmation that our property will be used for temporary storage during periods when active construction is on our property versus the whole scope of the city project. Details regarding the temporary fencing plan to safely accommodate our dog during construction. She's high maintenance. A written confirmation regarding restoration of our irrigation system, fencing, landscaping, grading, sod, retaining wall, and any other property disturbed during construction. Written confirmation regarding responsibility for any damage to our home, pool, retaining wall, or other improvements resulting from construction activities. A pre-construction meeting with the city, the staff, the engineer, and the contractor to review the final scope of the work and answer any remaining questions as it begins. On-site would be great. We're not trying to delay this project or make it more difficult. We simply want to protect our home and understand how this project will affect our property before granting access for construction and storage. Our property will experience one of the greatest impacts of any residents involved in this project. We respectfully ask that the city, its contractors, and subcontractors treat our property with the same care and consideration that each of you would expect if it was your home. Thank you for your time and your consideration. And I'll save a copy of this and have one for each of y'all at the end.
And I believe you have a meeting set up with our city manager.
Okay.
Right. Did you rehearse that? Because
I-
you got right to 3 minutes.
I'm so nervous. I kept looking at that. Thank you.
You did very well. Thank you. I believe there are no more public comments, so we'll close the public hearing. We'll go on to presentations, Turnkey Development Group. What do we got going here?
Hello. So, we recently, my charity, the Turnkey Foundation, recently made a donation to the city of Kennedale of 50 box fans that were delivered, I believe, last week. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
And they are to be used for the somebody that's poor or needy here in the city that the department or whoever needs to get somebody what they need. So the Turnkey Foundation is a part of my Turnkey Development Group, construction company, and we're a big part of Kennedale. I've been in part of Kennedale now for probably 8 years, live on Murray Hill, which sometimes I see cars slide up and down, depending on the weather. But we are hosting August 8th, the Back to School Bash, which I hope everybody's part of, where we have donated and through our community partners, 800 backpacks for the students of Kennedale, 800 backpacks with school supplies. So August 8th, please mark it down, 10 to 2 at Sonora Park. It will be bounce houses, food truck with Jeremy Lowe and Nearly Famous, and all kinds of fun and festivities for the kids. I think we've even arranged free haircuts for the kids of Kennedale that need assistance in that, the families that need assistance in that. So my initiatives for Kennedale as a nonprofit, I'm not asking Kennedale for any money, believe it or not. That's pretty cool, huh? And so, but we do a lot for this city. I think, Lori, we have done turkeys. We've sponsored 60 turkeys and hams every Thanksgiving for the families. We buy groceries throughout the year for families in Kennedale that are kind of nominated by the schools that don't have enough to get them through. We meet them at Aldi and we'll buy them whatever they need to get through, including clothes and items at Christmas. So pretty much I'm just letting you know about what we're doing for the community. I'd love to see more of my Kennedalians. Is that it? Kennedalians? What's the word? But get involved, and it's easy to get involved. It's just show up and help out. I'd love to see everybody at the Back to School Bash. I appreciate City Manager, Ms. Darrell, thank you for helping us get that thing going. I think it's going to be a great thing. It's our first one. And we just want people in the city to get involved more in the city. I think there's a lot going forward to be looking forward to be happy with the development and things that are going on in Kennedale. So I appreciate the council, city manager, mayor, for trying to change where things have been in the past. If everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I really do look forward to being part of and contributing to the different parts of making Kennedale vibrant and fun and where we all are neighbors and have a great time together. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for your contributions to the city. And you're right, we need more people like you to be involved. Yeah, thank you. Next up is reports and announcement, updates from the mayor and city council. We'll start over with Jeff Navarez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, it's July in Texas, and as everybody knows, we don't do much in July, but just a few updates for council and City of Kennedale. I have been chosen to be on the legislative committee for the TML coming up here in November. I'm looking forward to doing this. If for people who don't understand what that is, I'll be on a committee to push TMO that represent us in all small cities and major cities around Texas to go down to the state next year and prevent some of the actions that are coming down that are coming hard on cities. Last couple of years have really taken away some of our power of what we can and cannot do in our cities as far as development goes. And I want to make sure when I'm looking at a couple of things coming down the pipeline, there's a couple of them that I'm a little scared of. So I want to make sure that our representation are going to get themselves in order to help us next year when we meet again in a legislative for Texas. Also went to the fire station open house, which I'm super excited about. You know, some of us have been working on it for a couple of years, but some of us have been working on this for almost 2 decades, right, Mr. Turner? And we were all looking forward to seeing that open, and it's super awesome, super nice. And I know the chief is really proud of it. You can see it every time he talks about it. We also got the new dog park. That's something that, you know, citizens have been asking for, including you, Mr. Mayor, for several years. And so we have that dog park now, and if you haven't checked that out, it's really super neat. I'm really impressed, and thank you to Mr. Sturgeon for donating that to us. And then lastly, I just want to say something. We lost a super pillar of this community last week with Miss Esta. And just to put it in perspective, not many people at their funeral will have, one, a packed standing room only house at the Methodist Church. Two, have KPD, FPD, the city representative, the mayor, several council people, the entire Rotary Club, and a Elvis impersonator at their funeral. So I can only be blessed that I would have even something remotely like that, let alone an Elvis impersonator. But just a bit shout out and just wanted to recognize Miss Esta. It's a huge loss for us, but you know, like all people were pillars, we'll fill in the gap for her and keep on moving the city of Kennedale. Thank you.
Ryan?
I think this one's short. Jeff, expect half of that probably. This past month, we did attend the opening of Sturgeon Dog Park. I would like to thank, at the time, Mr. Sturgeon on that donation. It's a great asset that adds to the city's value and to what we have to offer, and is just one small part right now to what we have really to look forward to and to work towards. And so thank you again for that. The dedication of the firehouse was amazing. That's something that I am extremely grateful, really going back to previous leadership, that those individuals were able to work together and make that happen. It's a great fire station, something that our city can really call a beacon of light. It really shines down on us, and I think we had a great opening ceremony on that. So that was great. Next month, I do have planned to attend my first conference at TML for newly elected officials. So I'll learn how to ask the proper questions, when to use the restroom, when not to use the restroom, etc. Other than that, thank you, everyone.
How did your dogs review the dog park since you brought them out there?
They enjoyed everything. Fire hydrant was great. The fencing was great. The water was perfect. They had no complaints. Very happy.
All right, great. Kenneth?
Try to keep mine very brief. This last month, me and Jeff, Councilman Navarez, attended TML Regional 8 in Corinth, which they kind of gave some update legislated. I also attended a citywide training for staff over CPR and active shooter and stuff like that. That same night, we had a badge painting that I attended with 2 new officers, and congratulations, Chief Carlson, for getting his chief badge. I attended the dog park ribbon cutting, and I did go to the Kennedale ISD meeting on something we talked about last council meeting, trying to bridge that gap with the school district. And I did attend the fire department reopening, and it's a wonderful building. I'm glad it's there.
Griff?
Like everyone else up here, we enjoyed the ribbon cutting for the fire department. That was real special to be a part of. I especially like the touch of the hose at the end, disconnecting the hose as part of the ceremony for the ribbon. That was really special. And then this week, I'm actually doing the same training that Councilman Ray will be going to. But I won't be asking questions about using the bathroom, which is why I chose to go to a different one than him. And other than that, just pressing in with the budget review and all the things that we've been working on. I've been spending a bunch of time stealing time from both the mayor and the city manager, trying to make sure that I ask the appropriate questions for the things that are important to us as we move through the budget.
David?
I'll keep mine short. Also attended the firehouse opening. It looks great. It's amazing. 2.5, 3 years ago, we were talking about doing it. Now it's done. So kudos to the chief and the rest of the team. And like Councilman Griffin said, we're in budget season, so it's a lot of heads down, looking at numbers and plans and pestering Director Horton and the city manager with questions. So more to come next month.
And then I'll echo what everybody else said, but I also want to mention that recently Michael Sonny Miller of Kennedale passed away. Was almost 80 years old. He'd been born in Fort Worth, but he spent almost his entire life as a member of the Kennedale community. He began his racing career. He was one of our long-term racers here in the 1970s while working at Martin Sprocket and Gear, proving that his passion for the motorsport was built on a working men's foundation. In 1980, he founded the Dirt Track Shop in Kennedale, establishing a hub for the North Texas racing community where drivers could get their race cars built, parts source, and expertise when they couldn't find it. He also worked at the Texas Racers Auction and Trade Show at Fort Worth Convention Center. In 2000, he joined Smiley's Racing Projects at the Kennedale location, where he served for 25 years as front desk fixture and trusted resource for racers. He was known universally for his character as much as his craft, described by those who knew him as honest, witty, someone who never said a bad word about any word. And his final words were simply, "I love everybody." He passed away on June 17th, 2026 at 79, leaving behind 52 years of marriage, 3 children and 3 grandchildren. And now the North Texas racing community has lost one of its important members. Updates from the city manager.
Ditto.
No.
No, everything's going great. Thank you for all the emails and conversations with the budget. I think everything's going great. And even with the challenges that we have, we're very grateful and very blessed as we move forward. And we'll bring a great budget to you.
Yeah, I trust you. All right, financial report. Do we need him back up here again? I'm sorry, Jonathan. It's not that we don't like you. We just made you talk for an hour.
You can dismiss me if you want.
Does anybody have any additional questions for Jonathan? Or can we wait and talk? You can go sit back down.
Really?
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, next up is the consent agenda. Items usually don't require little or no deliberation and consider routine and ministerial. If you're wondering why there are 3 P&Z cases on here, these are replats, and as long as this is a judicial function, and as long as the replat meets the subdivision ordinances and regulations of the city, we don't have an option to vote no on that unless it does violate it some way, so that's why it's on the consent agenda. Saying that, are there any items on the consent agenda that anybody wants removed? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I will
Second. Second.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, please enter your vote. Oh, wow, passed 1-0. All those in favor, raise your hand. Just raise your hand. A motion passed unanimously. Well, it's technology. We'll figure it out. All right. Items for individual consideration discussion. Number 1, proposal to by Keep Kennedale Beautiful to rename the Town Center Butterfly Garden to the Wilda Turner Butterfly Garden. Who do we have here giving us a presentation?
And thank you for your time tonight. We are presenting tonight in anticipation of approval to name the Butterfly Garden in honor of our friend Wilda Turner. Wilda was a force. If you knew her, which most of y'all do, you know she got things done. She was dedicated to her family, her church, her community, and to her gardens. She served all of them well. In 2008, as a founding member of the Keep Kennedale Beautiful Commission, Wilda already had 8 years of experience as a Tarrant County Master Gardener. More importantly, she brought a passion for sharing the knowledge she gained. She educated, encouraged, and inspired others to volunteer and make a difference. Wilda loved what she did, and she generously shared that love with our community.
Okay, wait just a minute.
I apologize. Every time that I try and click on to get your presentation come up, the TVs want to shut off.
Okay.
So I truly apologize. I'm sure she's a very wonderful woman.
Okay, let me put it on so we can see it at least. That was you.
Mr. Glover, that's in the budget too.
Okay, the next slide, it shows Wilda. She's the only one out in the garden. There's nothing in the garden at all except for the drip lines and a few scrubby plants.
Scrubby.
And she is bending over, shoveling, and working. So in the beginning, what began as an empty corner of Town Center Park soon became Wilda's vision for a demonstration garden filled with native and adapted plants. She believed that a garden could be more than delight to the eye. It could also provide food and shelter for butterflies, bees, hummingbirds, and other important insects. Okay, now let me click to the next one. Now there's pictures, they're just lovely, y'all. I wish you could see them. It's got the city guys with the big tractor and they're loading up the mulch. It's got the old KKB group, even Kim's still in it. I mean, in it before she was really in it. We're all out there working. Wilda's out there directing everyone. And the name of this slide is Creating the Garden. Wilda worked alongside fellow volunteers, planting, mulching, pruning, and teaching. Every workday brought another improvement, and each volunteer became part of something greater than a garden. Together, they created a place where both nature and education could flourish. Okay. The next is the garden through the years. This slide is really special to me because this was when Wilda was very first diagnosed with her cancer, but yet she's still sitting in the garden. She's not really doing much. She's sitting in her chair and she's directing all the workers at what to do. So this says, over the years, the garden has matured into one of Kennedale's hidden treasures. The next picture is some of the workers with Wilda in the garden. Now, if Miss Winters was here, she'd be really mad at me because I've used this picture of her, but it's her and Wilda. They're sitting under the vitex tree, doing what I call taming the vitex because it's wild and they had to trim it every other day to keep it in shape. There's a picture of Michael Chandler. He is solid sweat, just solid sweat. And then there's Wilda and Darlene again, and Darlene's best viewpoint from the rear, bending over, as I caught her in many times, all under the vitex tree, still working. And this is the native plants flourished, butterflies returned in abundance, and the visitors discovered the beauty and importance of a pollinator and their habits. The next slide is entitled, oh, it's still this one. What began as a simple idea has grown into a living classroom, one that continues to educate, inspire, and connect the community with nature. And this is just more pictures of Wilda working with Caesar when he was with us, telling people what to do. And she would always say very sweetly, now, Kim, you know this. You don't put a wet plant in a dry hole. How many times has she said that, Kenneth? So she always had advice, but she never told it like she knew everything. She wanted to make sure we were learning, but she did it so sweetly. And then there's another picture of Darlene, and she's up to her neck in vitex. Okay, Kim, next.
Wilda's love for nature continues to inspire our community today. Her vision helped create more than a beautiful garden. It became a place where butterflies, bees, and people gather. Every butterfly that lands on a flower, every child who stops to explore, and every native plant that blooms is a reminder that Wilda's legacy is still going.
And that slide spotlights Kenneth's great photography. If y'all didn't know, he was a wonderful photographer. He had a brand new phone and he was making pictures of the butterflies, and he was just standing there waiting for him to land on the flowers. And it's such beautiful pictures that he was being so still standing there. And a hummingbird, he was focused in on this zinnia, my beautiful zinnia, with a monarch landing on the butterfly. But at the same time, a hummingbird landed on Kenneth's finger and was trying to eat out of the butt of the flower picture on his phone.
Wilda not only helped create and shape the garden, she also poured her heart and her time into it. Year after year and week after week, she was always there. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and because of her passion, the team of dedicated volunteers were inspired to transform the small space into the thriving refuge we now enjoy today. Naming the garden in Wilda's honor is a fitting tribute. It will give visitors pause to reflect about the woman whose vision, hard work, and love for nature made it all possible.
And that slide is just Wilda with everybody still working. And the last slide, I'm going to email y'all all this slideshow. And Kelly, I'm going to send it to you. Okay, the last slide is one of my favorite pictures of Wilda, and she's standing with the garden in the back, and she's looking over her shoulder at everybody with her little hat on. And she's got the sweetest smile on her face. And the slide is the Wilda Turner Butterfly Garden, a living legacy, dedicated in honor of Wilda Turner for her vision, leadership, and love. Today, we do more than remember what Wilda accomplished. We continue the work she began. Our hope is that everyone who walks these paths enjoys the flowers and watches the butterflies and will be reminded that one person's passion can leave a legacy that enriches a community for generations to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Well, I mean, I knew Willow very well, as several of us did. I couldn't think of any other better way to honor her than renaming that. As long as we have permissions from the Turners, which I understand we do, and there's no further discussion, I make a motion to change the Town Center Butterfly Garden to Wilda Turner Butterfly Garden.
I'd like to second that.
Any further discussion or comment, Kenneth?
Well, being one of the ones that used to spend every Wednesday with her working in the garden, she was always a pleasure to be with. I mean, I could have the worst day of my life and show up on Wednesday and just her smile, just you greeting and just basically saying, okay, we need to do this. And she loved the donut shop. So I think I gained about 50 pounds because every time we would work in the garden, we would have to go to the donut shop. So this is well deserved. It's to me, it's an honor for her. I would like to have KKB maybe come up with some type of signage and maybe do a ribbon cutting in the near future.
So tonight, we are basically just asking for your approval that we can rename the garden. We would love to come back at a later date with better plans for signage and a dedication.
All right. Any further comments? All right. All those in favor of renaming the Town Center Butterfly Garden to the Wilda Turner Butterfly Garden, raise your hands. It working now? Okay, then enter your vote. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, and Wilda was a wonderful woman. We all remember.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I would like to help Councilman Ray practice asking the appropriate timing of a question. I think now would be a good time for that question.
I'm okay. Do you need a break?
Yeah, if we could take a bio break, please.
You need a break?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just take a real quick 5-minute break. Yeah.
Escape, close that, and pull that.
I said it looks good, but it does look like you.
Yeah, I just got that. Thank you.
I know, you did good, baby.
It's almost had to be in tears.
I know it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. What better way to learn? So, that's right. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought so.
Not to be that.
Yes, Wednesday mornings, so. Yeah, I in October, and everything's arriving now. Yes. So it's like, yeah, I'm so excited. Right? Usually, even in my something on here that is like wants to share.
Oh, this is why it's not plugged in. OMG, are you? Right here, let's try it. Try it. There it is. That's okay. It's okay. I don't know.
That's my question.
Yeah.
I try to swing by there about once or twice. My daughter lives over there. Yeah. So every time I'm. Go down the cul-de-sac, look, see if I'm gonna stay.
Good, I appreciate that. Yeah, they, I guess they ended up running into, we got this information from the engineer, but, they were gonna move one of the poles over closer to the creek, but when they dug the hole for that, they might have to reroute the, it's like right in the way of where they're taking. Right. They're probably not in a hurry. You know, we still have 2 poles, you know, they've replaced that one, it's just. They have their. Oh, okay.
I don't know if the project.
I guess we'll find out. Thank you so much.
I'll go with that.
I was gonna say, they weren't, so maybe they were testing that. I don't know.
What's going on tonight? When I get home, I've got.
I had put the fans there now, but.
That's why I'm usually in.
Oh, really?
On that.
I did, I gave it to the, this young lady right here. Thank y'all so much for this. Yeah, we were not there. Real, we all have already filled out. So that's the.
No, I'm here for it.
I'm old. I make voices. It's like. Here's my biggest fan.
Yeah. I'm gonna see
No kidding. Executive session is gonna take forever. No, it's not. Although, I know, but we're gonna have to be involved. Well, don't we go?
Well, good evening. This presentation will be relatively short.
Good.
It's the mitigation plan that we've been working on for some time. It's finally in FEMA's hand, and the last step to do for them to approve it and send it back to me, all finalized, is a resolution. So you've got information in the staff report. Is there any questions?
Any questions about the hazard mitigation plan? Entertain a motion to approve Resolution 651.
Just a quick question, just for my knowledge. Are we a corridor for transportation of hazardous materials? Like some highways are designated for certain things. I know the train is, but is our highway designated or Dick Price or anything like that?
I would say no.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll definitely be aware of that if we do see it coming
Okay.
through.
I'll double check too.
You want to make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to approve. Hold on, let me get to it. I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
To oh, it's been fun, guys. Really. Resolution 651.
And Kenneth, you want a second? I did second. Any further discussion? Then please enter your vote.
And I'll just add, a lot more of these hazards are weather related, but
Don't you dare. I know where you live, Griff. Motion passes. Oh, okay, the motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Next up, Resolution 652, Department of Justice Cops Grant. Is that you, Chief Peters? I know. Chief Carlson? Man, I'm getting old. Getting old. Yeah. Any questions for Chief Carlson? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 652.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Resolution 652, Department of Justice Cops Grant.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please enter your vote. Don't go anywhere. Motion passes 5-0. Next up, Fellowship Academy, SRO contract. I don't know if you're taking the lead on that.
Either way,
All right, pick one.
I'll take it. The SRO contract is very ultimately the same as we have with the Kennedale Independent School District. The same duties, same responsibilities, equally, 50-50 match. With that, the SRO contract will be with Fellowship Academy. If you have any other questions, we ask for approval.
Are we going to hire or promote?
All right. Any other questions for the chief or city manager?
I just have one, it's more procedural, but can we have an ILA with a private school?
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
I believe they're still required by the state to have some sort of security. That law does allow for the hiring of police officers.
Okay, just clarifying. Thank you.
I have the same question. Go furthermore, do we have any set, as we grow, there may be additional schools? There's a Montessori school that's in place currently, and we could have other schools that may grow, other charter schools that may come into our community. Do we have a population stipulation? Is there any type of, what is the criteria, thank you, of right now that we have in place for this type of agreement?
No, sir, we don't. Good question.
Bottom line, we do want all children to be safe and protected. And so that's my support. We should look at that though.
Yeah, Absolutely.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve the Fellowship Academy SRO contract.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the Fellowship Academy SRO contract.
I'll second.
Second, any further discussion? And please enter your vote. Motion passes 5-0. Last but not least, thank you very much, Chief. Yeah. Elevated storage tank. I like storage tank talk.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Item 5 in front of you is we are seeking the approval from the council to execute a construction contract with Tansco for the rehab of our elevated storage tank T3 for $1,011,800.
How big's the tank?
1 million gallons.
Oh, it's 1 million gallons. Okay. And that's the one by Dick Price, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Any questions for Christian?
Christian, I think we discussed this before and this first came up. I just want to make sure that with this new one, we will have a proper maintenance plan from the builder or manufacturer so that we don't find ourselves having a tank that's falling apart prematurely.
Sure, yeah, we're gonna just have to have a budget for maintenance because normally you have to do a rehab or conduct maintenance on your tank between 3 to 5 years, every 3 to 5 years.
Right. I think the note from staff says it had minimal maintenance since it was installed in 2001, 2002. So I just want to make sure we have a
Correct.
proper annual maintenance cycle. going
Correct,
forward.
because prior to I being in here, there were no maintenance done in either any of the storage tanks in the city of Kennedale.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Christian, just to educate some of the council who just got on here, these tanks are modern tanks too, so they're not the tanks that we currently have, which are more prone to corrosion and holes, but they actually have some sort of like sapphire seal or something on the inside.
No,
Glass.
this is a composite tank, it's steel concrete. So we are going back with the same tank. All we're gonna do is go in there, rehab it, sandblast it, paint it. and
Oh,
just-
so we're keeping the same one, just rehabbing it.
Yeah, but give me $12 million, get you a new tank.
I mean, my water bill's pretty high, thank you.
The ground storage tank by the high school, that's gas and steel infused glass, so that's more modern day technology. So there's no corrosion in that.
Could you state what the lifespan of the tank after being refurbished is?
Say again?
Could you remind us of what the lifespan is to expect?
The lifespan is like 75 years. But that's providing you do maintenance every 3 to 5 years.
So you'll only have to do this once, Ryan.
But we have to maintain it 3 to 5 years.
So basically, you're gonna go back and do rehab again for $1 million.
Kenneth?
Well, on the agenda packet, it says approval of construction contract. I didn't get a contract. I mean, I got the bid process and showing that they won the bid.
Yeah, we don't have the contract yet. This is just to approve the bid.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're approving the bid and not a contract.
Yeah, it's bid, not the contract.
All right. Okay, thank you.
And you'll come back with this?
Yeah, but I think if I'm not mistaken, the point he was trying to make is that the consideration is approval of a construction contract, not the bid. So that's why he's asking.
Yeah, help me out. Why are we approving the bid and not just waiting till we get the contract?
Well, with the bid process, we have to tell the contractors who actually won the bid.
Okay,
Ultimately, that's just a process.
okay,
And then once we get into it, honestly, the contract could change
right,
as we go in a little bit more in depth.
okay. Questions?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Mayor, like I would only support these types of projects that we have been doing the last several years with the fact that the city has changed their mentality about maintenance and making sure that we keep up in maintenance and just changing the status quo around here. So with that in mind, I'd like to make a motion to approve the elevated storage tank bid process.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, please enter your vote.
Wait. I'm trying not to beat a dead horse, but again, if the motion is to approve the execution of a contract, that was the point he's trying to make, is that we don't have the contract, just the bid.
For a bid, to approve the bid.
Got you. Okay. Couldn't hear you.
Yeah. I want to clean out those ears. What? Motion passes 5-0. Next up, I guess we have to have a motion to adjourn to executive session in congruence with chapter 551.071 and 551.074 on employment, to deliberate appointments of evaluation, reassignment duties of discipline, public officer regarding the city council, economic development, Keep Kennedale Beautiful, Parks and Rec, Planning and Zoning, Board of Adjustments, and Library Board.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to go to executive session.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Please enter your vote. We'll move into executive session. All right, we're moving into executive session. We'll be back as soon as we can.